Ring, ring. Who's there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, that's like my intro.
I'm not... Okay,
There's no problem.
I'm so sorry. I thought you were talking to me.
No, it's okay.
Cool.
So this is Jesse Jackson, and this is Irori. Can I hang up now? So, yeah, that
That was
no,
cool.
but it's okay. Yeah, I would expect if someone is making a call, if someone is
definitely.
asking if they can hear me, I would expect them to say if they're hearing me.
Yeah, unless nakusno, but yeah.
You're that type of person.
No, I'm not that type of person. No.
Are you the type of person who would say hi to someone in a matatu randomly?
Unfortunately, yes.
Oh, it's not unfortunate. See, that is basic human decency.
Yeah, courtesy, right?
Yeah, that's
but
how
Nairobi, Nairobi is a bit...
Man, it's giving you like
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you talking to me, you know? Mind your business.
Because street.
See, you're just tunaenda mali, tunaenda, so why are you talking to me?
Do you wear earpods in public?
No, not really. Not really. I find actually that my ears are sensitive, so I don't wear them for a long time, and maybe earphones, but not a lot. So
you are usually on the receiving end of you'd actually welcome someone who is trying to strike a conversation.
Yes, most of the time. It depends, however. Because if you're being creepy, then stay away.
What's creepy? What's the definition of creepy?
I would say if maybe you're trying to hit on me, and I tell you no, maybe I'm not interested, right? I'll be very kind. But then if you keep trying, then.
So before we dig deep, I'd like for you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
Please let the audience mostly know what you do, because I know what you do. So
of course.
Yeah, you let the audience know what you do.
Okay, yeah.
And you can tell us one fun fact about yourself.
Wow. All right. That's hard, but okay. So my name is TRACY, CHAO. And currently I am a final year student at Truro University. I do international relations and diplomacy. However, I'm also more than that. I'm a daughter. I am a friend. Also, for now, I'm volunteering, with Kenyani Mimi. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a youth-led organization. And that's what I do. I'm a project lead there. So you can check us out afterwards.
For sure. There's so much, there's so much things associated with the nafsi in Kenya right now. Sisi kwa sisi, mimi ni mimi, wewe ni wewe.
Sisi tunasema Kenya ni mimi, Kenya ni wewe, Kenya ni sisi sote. So
kuna so much, I don't know, is there creativity when Kenyans come up with the organizational names? Sisi ni sisi, yetu ni yenu, yangu ni yako. Which is which? Hakuna creativity, are we that limited?
Sidhani tuko limited, na sidhani ni nyingi per se. I think ina depend on what the organization wants to showcase. Kama sasa for us, tunasema Kenya ni mimi because it's a youth-led, so ni sisi, right? So we are proclaiming it. It is ours.
Oh, it's you guys.
Exactly.
That's
for Kenya.
So it's a branding thing, sort of.
Yes.
You're branding yourselves as, this is who we are.
Exactly.
And you're putting ourselves out there for you and for all of us.
Yeah, and of course, when you have that ownership, then it makes it easier for people to participate. Because sasa tukisema tunaenda kuvote, Kenya ni yetu, tunaenda to make decisions for us. So you see,
to change things, systems and everything.
Tunafaa kufanya hivyo.
For sure. Ulikuwa unatuambia, you were telling us about your experiences, your matatu ride experiences.
Wow.
We can get back to that, yeah?
Yeah, so...
How you were saying, you were actually at the point where you were saying, you wouldn't welcome it if it's creepy, and you say creepy is for someone who is trying to hit on you, for example.
Yes. Unfortunately, it happens a lot, right? For young ladies. I don't know about for guys, but for young ladies, it really happens. Even older women, I mean, as long as you're a woman. So... Hata
mimi nakuwa hit on.
Hata wewe. Amesema hivyo.
Wacheni kuhit on me hapo.
Fact check later, right? But yeah, I would say most of the time, women, when they're approached by somebody they don't know, inakwanga, our first instinct is a bit of fear.
Reservation, your first
like
survival.
Slightly, exactly. We're going to survival mode because we don't know what you want to say. Again, we don't know how you will react, especially if that person is showing interest. and you don't want to show interest back. Now, that becomes a bit of a challenge.
And sometimes it's hard for someone to read the room.
Yes.
And tell that this is not the kind of conversation that I need to be progressing
Yes,
in.
exactly.
And they hold back. So I think people should should make it a normal thing. And it goes both ways. You should understand that sometimes it's easy for someone to be responsive. Sometimes it's not.
And also, we can have platonic conversations. I mean, si kila siku unakatiana tu. You can ask unafanyanga nini, you know? Network. Network kidogo.
Unaweza pata employer wako.
Exactly. Unaona the next client.
Mental
supplier.
Shift.
Exactly.
We
need a change. Yeah. Si kila siku you see somebody of the opposite gender and you just want
your first instinct is to...
Yeah.
That's interesting. So what side of the internet are you on right now? No, that's a really interesting place to begin. The internet is so disintegrated right now.
True.
Yeah, like Qatar, sorry to say. The internet is so disintegrated right now. So what side of the internet are you on right now?
Okay, so for me, my algorithm, there's a lot of international politics and local politics as well, because I'm into that kind of stuff, you know, leadership, whatever's happening on the ground, and also like around the globe, because it's good to be informed.
Yeah, for sure.
Also, okay, I'm trying not to be TMI, right? So
that's okay.
No,
we'll not clip you.
It's not okay. I also have a lot of crafting. I started a new hobby.
Which is?
I crochet, actually. I came with a scarf. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't have it now.
The
pink one.
Oh,
it's
that's
pink. Yes. So I do a lot of that.
And what is it with you ladies and crochet?
It's fun.
Tunafaa kubai kwa nani? Ebu mtupatie.
Kila mtu, hata mi bai kwangu.
Mtupatie mtu wa crochet mmoja.
No.
Alafu nyi wengine wote mkue branches.
No. I think
everyone is Crochets by Irene. Crochets. Shout out to crochet ladies out there.
Exactly. Shout out. I mean, I feel like it's a way to release our creative juices, you know, keep yourself busy. For others, it's a way to have, you know, an income.
What is it for you?
For me, it's for my creative juices.
There's so much going on in your real world that, of course, sometimes you need to back off.
Exactly.
So how long have you been crocheting for?
Since last year, June.
Have you made a piece for someone?
I have, for
what
my
was
family.
The feedback?
They loved it, for my friends as well.
And the scarf too. I've seen the scarf.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've said it's been 1 year now. So you're
not
big
on like several months.
So you're big on whatever you're doing right now.
Yes, it's a learning process, of course. But yes, I could say I'm very good. I wear my pieces, so maybe afterwards I can show you some photos.
100%.
Yeah, actually, my Instagram, there's a post there in blue. I have.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I'm wearing a top and I'm also wearing a scrunchie. I made that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will. What pieces for crochet can guys get?
From me or from General Crochet?
Si wendo sasa client, wendo sasa our crochet lady.
I mean anything.
Wewe sasa tena una market watu wengine.
No, sinakuuliza tu.
Ni wewe ndo
sawa. Question si general ni yangu sawa.
Yeah, ni wewe.
I would say anything genuinely because crochet is very creative. From stuffed animals to clothing to curtain ornaments to lampshades, like whatever you want.
Anything interesting.
If you can dream it, we can make it happen.
I like your approach. So open-minded. For someone who's been in the field for a few months, uko so open. Unaweza tengeneza hata lampshade. Yeah, I think we are good.
Yeah.
The crochet industry is good with people like you who are so
YouTube is free. YouTube is free, I tell you.
Anyone can learn anything.
Exactly, yeah.
So the reason I asked you what side of the internet you're on is I'd like for you to... I've seen you've been following up this whole Iran-Israeli story.
Yeah.
And I'd like for you to break it down for us.
Okay.
And then I think that would form the basis of our conversation today.
All right. Okay. So where do I start?
From the beginning.
The beginning is far. But I will say, let me just put it in layman's language. So for those who do not know, there's a war currently going on, right? The US and Israel are on one side, and then you have Iran on the other side. And of course, Israel has been in conflict for quite some time now. They have been, fighting Hamas.
Yeah.
There's that war. You would call it differently. There's the genocide in Gaza, I would prefer, because people are dying, And now
women and children,
exactly, and men. I mean, everybody is dying, livestock, everything. And now we see Israel has decided to shift and expand that war to Iran. Now, the reason that they're giving, and of course we have to realize that Israel is not doing this alone, and they will not do it alone. I mean, the US is backing them.
Resources and everything, military bases.
Exactly.
It's there. It's in the light.
The weapons that are being used right now, they're being supplied by the US. And those missiles that you're seeing being deployed, they are not cheap. They are very expensive. And you have to see different sides of war. So you see the ones who are suffering, and then you see the ones who are profiting from the military-industrial complex, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So now...
and there's always someone who is in it for...
Of course. For
something.
Of course. You know, you say war is peace. George Orwell says that. And he means that for you, you might be fighting, but for us, that's how we are building our...
empires.
Exactly, precisely. So anyways, the US is saying that, this war is because Iran was posing an imminent threat, right? And allegedly, right? And it's funny because Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, now it's Secretary of War, he was saying
not
that...
Not state anymore.
Yeah, it's war. They have changed, we are rebranding. And he was saying that they attacked Iran because they knew that if Iran was attacked, they would attack them. So what they do, they attack Iran.
No, but technically, see, if you come at me, that is...
Yeah, but no, that was not the thing. He was saying that even if they attack by somebody else,
they'll still...
Israel, they'll go back and attack the US. And therefore, to solve this problem...
We'll go for them
and attack them fast. Yeah. So...
and there's the whole idea of not hitting your direct target, channeling your attack to the allies. So you're attacking the military bases in Iran, in Qatar, in places that are not, in places that say directly affiliated to the US, but are not actually the US.
Yes.
So how is that? They're not going for who they actually want. They're beating around corners. You see, that's a whole complex thing. There's so much complexity around that. I
understand, right? Somebody may be like, why aren't they attacking the US directly? For sure. Go and fight each other there. However, unfortunately, this is how wars are done. Unfortunately, even during the Cold War, you could see the Cold War is basically, the period after the World War II and up to about 1990. And
there's little ammunition. It's so much of...
they had the nuclear, weapon, the threat of nuclear weapon. And we saw during that time, there were so many proxy wars. Why was USSR at the time, why was USSR not fighting the US? Why were they not bombing each other? They cannot, because something called mutually assured destruction. So if the US bombs, Russia, they know for a fact that they will retaliate thoroughly.
And it won't be...
And everybody will lose.
For sure.
So that's why they do proxy wars. So they find small
allies,
places. Exactly. They attack each other with those affiliated groups. And that's what's happening even right now.
For sure, yeah.
Yes.
That is the kind of approach that is... so the smaller fish are suffering on behalf of... And it's interesting.
Yeah.
You see, I feel like, and I don't know if you're informed about that. I feel like it was disintegration of things. First, it was ICE, the immigration thing in the US, and everyone who is a foreigner was being deported. And then next, it was Epstein files. I don't know if you.
Yes.
So next, it was Epstein files, and then there was so much propaganda around that, and there were all these emails going around, and so many people are implicated, and there's so much news about that.
Yes.
Then suddenly now it's an actual war.
Yes.
So how do you think, as informed as it may be, do you think this might be a conduit to hide from us the actual truth of what is really going on behind the curtains?
That's a very good question. And of course, as students of IR for us, we're told to just think beyond what is happening, what you see, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So you're giving very good examples. We see much more recent US's, let's say, coup in Venezuela, right? They took Maduro, you would say kidnapped, but they took him. However, you see in Venezuela, in as much as they replaced Maduro, they did not dismantle the regime that was there. Basically, they took the head and put another head. but everybody
Same
else has
body.
their jobs.
Same
You see?
forest.
Yeah.
Nyani ni wale msitu ni nyani ndo tofauti,
Yeah.
but msitu ni same.
Exactly.
So the system was not washed out.
Exactly. They just changed the person so that they can replace them with another person who is more cooperative. And now you see Venezuelan oil. Another thing, Venezuelan oil. You know, it's always down to the
Iran
resources.
and Qatar too. It's with natural gas now, so there's interest. At the
Yes,
end
of
the
course,
day,
it's energy,
interest.
and of course, there's also the Strait of Hormuz that is there.
Yeah.
You know that Iran is controlling, and right now that
sure.
has been suspended. Ships are not passing there, so that's a whole other crisis. Mafuta inaanza kupanda hapa. I was talking to my mom. She was telling
gas,
me,
yeah,
she was telling me unga imepanda already. And I was like, what?
And it's so interesting.
Yeah,
mafuta inapanda and steamer inapanda.
Yeah.
Even things that are not directly correlated.
Yes.
Everything now starts to surge.
Yeah, because energy runs everything, you know.
For sure.
Yeah, from the petrol in the cars that you use, and then now to trucks that are transporting. If it's expensive, then that means transportation is expensive. They're going to push that price onto the consumers. Yeah. So now back to our discussion on how things are unfolding.
Yeah.
So now you have the Epstein files, right? That have been very disruptive.
Very
Disruptive, especially in the US. And even now, even us, we know about the Epstein file. I mean, we're a continent away.
You know, it was so interesting that when Epstein files are mentioned, there's this one guy. It's Jeffrey Epstein.
Yes.
And then this guy is running so many other. So he's basically, the story is he has some island, and on this island he's running some really shady business.
Yes.
And everyone who is, I was telling Nyaki, it's interesting that people, wealthy people have really weird fetishes.
Yeah.
Like,
unfortunately.
How is it that a child is victim to a wealthy person's fetish? And they were mentioning Masai Mara as some of the places that they've had access to, and they were mentioning Malindi for all this child trafficking and all this putting together everything for this particular person who is running everything with our particular leaders.
Yeah.
So you can go on.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. You realize that unfortunately many of the people who are very wealthy, they're very wicked. Like there's so much wickedness that goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's good that it's coming to light, because in as much as you do whatever you do in the dark, at a point it will come to light.
But how effective is that? Is whoever is responsible being implicated? Are necessary justice actions being taken?
Yeah.
Is the law being laid out on them as it should be?
Unfortunately, no. To all of your questions.
Yeah, because they're being protected.
Exactly. They're the ones in power. So who is going to prosecute them when they're the ones in power?
Yeah.
You know,
And it's speaking of power, it's interesting to mention that as we are as a continent as a whole, there is so much conversation going around right now that our leaders are dummies. Our leaders are not. They're not actual leaders in the face of things when it comes to deciding things and running things. They're actually dummies for people to. The superpowers to run. That's why you mentioned the whole taking the head off and replacing the whole Venezuela account. That our leaders. What do you think? Are our leaders actually leaders? Do we have an actual say when it comes to putting our matters out there, or are there things that are suppressed on our leaders and then they bring them down to us? Okay,
so I think number one, I would like to say that our leaders are not stupid. Right?
For sure.
Yeah, like most of the time people be like, oh, our president is so dumb. But he's not dumb. Like you cannot be a president if you're dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
they're doctors and they have doctorates.
It doesn't work like that. Yeah. You have to be very conniving and cunning, and that needs intelligence. However, as to what you said, are they just figureheads? Unfortunately, for most of them, yes. Like, you see, most of Africa, for most of our African states, our leaders are still being influenced by our previous colonial powers, or at least the larger West, So I would say even if a leader is trying to make change, you see what happens. They get assassinated.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, then they not even get backlash. They get assassinated. If they try to talk to you and convince you, and then you don't get convinced.
And then it gets noticed. It's like, no, we don't work like that.
They take you out and they replace you with somebody else. So that's very unfortunate. And also, I would say, in as much as the West is unfortunately not good for us. Our leaders also, of course, they don't want to die, but then they're also very corrupt. Like, and that reflects, of course, our society, because our leaders are a reflection of us. They are a mirror. So if all of our leaders are corrupt and, you know, conniving and all of those bad things you say, then what does that say about us as a society?
Yeah, because they're a picture of us out there.
Exactly.
And it's interesting you mentioned leadership. As someone who is so big on first woman advocacy and archaic description of things, the archaic setup was the man is the leader. But then the conversation is shifting. There are women who are coming up as leaders, and women are taking center stage on interesting matters. And I saw you are nominated for a thing, a woman in diplomacy thing. Yeah,
I was actually chosen, but yes, it's a
chosen
fellowship.
For a woman in diplomacy thing.
Yeah.
So what is it like, you as a woman? And of course, this is not trying to belittle in any way, but what is the conversation like for you that things have changed? How is it like for you looking at leadership roles as from a perspective of a woman, of course?
Okay, so I would say that, I mean, we are progressing, right?
For sure.
We are moving forward. However, some of our archaic traditions and misconceptions are still there, unfortunately, to this day. Yeah. So, for instance, I'll give my personal experience. I have been in various positions of leadership, and yes, people will support you as long as, you know, you qualify, you have the ideas you're saying, you know, you believe what you're saying, and you're actually doing, you know, what you said you would do. However, still, there are some people who will undermine your authority.
Because, of course, at first, when you're selling your manifesto, it's this is what we want to hear. You're telling them. But then now it gets to the point of actual implementation, and then things. Yeah,
it's very difficult. But then it's not impossible, because, I mean, I've done it. Many more women have done it. We have, you know, female governors. We have, you know, our numbers are increasing in the international system. However, the inequality and the gap is still very, very big.
So we're saying the 2/3 gender rule is still not as applicable in Parliament, for example.
Unfortunately. And I will say that we shouldn't just use it and put it so that we just feel it, but we should also make sure that we are picking people who are qualified to be there. For sure. Even for the majority who are the men, they need to put people who are competent. However, again, as a society, if we keep on being swayed by 50 shilling handouts or 200 bob handouts or unga ugali, and we keep putting people who are just, you know,
I get what you're saying. During when we are championing for change, we are saying we need the whole swamp drained. We don't just need specific people out. We need everyone who is part of the problem to be out of our way. So how do you feel about our systems right now, and whatever already exists? Is there a possibility that whatever is there now can be, because you see there are systems that are already existing, and there are people that are benefiting from them in the name of corruption, and it's in plain sight. So much money is being lost. So do you feel like it's possible? It's a conversation that is possible. Are we able to have that approach where the whole swamp is drained and we experience change in its most wholesome?
That's a good question. I think ideally, right, you would want the entire swamp to be drained and have new water and a new ecosystem. However, unfortunately, practically, that's a bit difficult, because again, you need continuity. Continuity is very important. So even if you say, okay, we dismantle the entire system, we need to be able to have a system to fall back to. Again, it's not all the systems that are bad. Actually, we have very good systems in this country. We're doing very, very well. The problem is the people who are there running said systems. That is the problem. So again, I come back to, we need the electorate, we need young people, of course, to register to vote. We need them to make better choices, even for the older generation. They need to know, even if we are struggling and we're in poverty, let us not look at 50 shillings now. Let us try and see in the future, in 5 years, how am I benefiting from this? How are my children going to benefit from this? How are their children going to? So I think our systems are good as they are. Yes, some things can be changed and implemented. We don't need to uproot all of them. We just need to build on them, see what is good, see what's working, leave that, implement what is not working, and just make that better.
Change things.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of striking a balance.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yes, everything is a balance.
And that brings me to, you see, we are growing up.
Yeah.
We're growing up as youths. We're growing up as, and we keep hearing the same things. We are the leaders of tomorrow, and all that. So our environment is here, and this is the kind of environment that we are having.
Yeah.
This is the kind of natural environment that we are facing.
Yes.
And people tend to learn mostly from the things that they see applied practically, as compared to what they is actually wired to them. Like if someone will tell you, TRACY, I want you to do this, and you don't see them doing that, you would copy more of what they do compared to what. So what type of people are we growing to become, with our environment being the greatest influence, and ourselves, of course, us, the things that were taught to us, the things that we have learned, the things that were wired into us, into our brains. How different is that for us as people who are growing up?
Okay. I would say this is actually a very good thing for us, because in as much as we have been raised to certain things have been instilled in us, and we are seeing those who have gone ahead of us, unfortunately maybe the bad ones, what they have done. We are very enlightened as a generation. We are waking up, we are thinking, we are questioning things, we are saying, why this, why not that, right? And that's a very big catalyst for change, because unfortunately previously maybe that was not very vocal, or people are not really big into questioning. But now we are doing that, and that is already one of the differences. Also, I would say we have a lot of exposure. The internet can be a very good gift, right?
For sure.
And we can see, okay, fine, here, this is how it is, but we are getting bad results from the systems that are currently there, or from how things are. But maybe in Sweden, things are better. What are they doing? Singapore. You want to go to Singapore, right? How are things better in Singapore? What can we borrow from them? Not copy and paste, but how can we use maybe their policies or their way of doing things? How can we make them ours, localize them, and see how we can push things further?
Are these ideas practical? Are we saying if we are not copy and pasting, we are trying to implement what is good and bring it back home? Are these ideas practical? Like, is it something that is manageable? Because it would feel like our leaders are just trying to get us chasing the wind, and we are not actually approaching things that are practical. Are these ideas as practical and as implementable as our leaders deem them to be?
Okay. So I will say, let us not chase to...
If you're saying, before you continue, if you're saying in Singapore, housing is a big thing for them, so we want to implement housing. But in Kenya, housing is not our biggest problem. So I'd like you to answer that question in that.
Yes. Again, I think context is very important, right? Singapore did not reach where it is in a day, in 2 years. They took decades. Even the US, they have taken 200 years to where they are. So we definitely need context. Again,
it was not one sitting president turning the table.
Alafu, you see, with our presidents, mbona every new presidency wants a new thing. Like, your legacy should be create on what has already been done. That's why we have continuity. That
is such an interesting for you to say, because a while back there was a discussion about, as a country, we should have say a 30-year rolled out plan, and that was what Kibaki was trying to do with Vision 2030. Let's have a plan that runs for 30 years, and let's implement this plan on the basis of each and every person who takes the highest seat in the land. So President number 1 comes in. He covers 2 kilometers of the road. President number 2 comes in, covers from where was left another 5 kilometers, 3 kilometers. And then they are judged from that. So our 30-year plan, every president's competence is gauged depending on how much they have helped move our long-term plan. Instead of having every Tom Dick with his own philosophy that is so...
Very true. Exactly. And... to answer the previous question, as you're saying, I think we also need to focus on our current problems at hand, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Unfortunately, we have millions of Kenyans right now who do not have food, who are facing food insecurity and malnutrition.
So housing is not our top priority.
Yes, we need food, right? We need to create waterways, have boreholes, dig boreholes in those areas. Northeastern Kenya, these people are dying. Cattle is dying, and that's their livelihood, And you find they're starving, they're malnourished, and they die. So I think instead of housing, we probably need food in that area. We need to find sustainable solutions for those people to be able to eat, right? For those children to be able to go to school, because again, there are not enough schools. We have changed the education system.
For sure.
Even the previous one, there were not enough schools, and now
I feel like you've been breathing fire from the word go.
No.
You have not rested. So I'd like to break the ice.
Okay.
You have not rested from the point we started rolling. I've literally been seeing smoke on your head. So what are you listening to? Are you listening to Kenyan music? Please tell us about your music before we go on. Yeah, you've been blowing fire, literally. So are you listening to Kenyan music? So a funny story before you tell us about it. I was getting so much backlash online. My friends were saying, so there's the newest artist in town. She's called Olivia Dean.
Yeah.
So my friends were saying, so the person I had last asked me about Olivia Dean. So I told them, I've not heard about Olivia Dean.
Okay.
And then they were like, how have you not heard about, she's the new best artist in town. So I was getting so much.
Best artist at the Grammys.
How don't you know that? What side of the internet are you on? So I was getting so much friction when it comes to, and I'm a big perpetrator of Kenyan music. I'm a big perpetrator of Kenyan art.
Yeah.
So I appreciate Kenyan art more before I of course I have international favorites, but I'm so big on Kenyan before
others.
So what are you listening to?
Well, I'm not gonna sit here and lie.
For sure, please.
I do listen to a bit of Kenyan music. Actually, like our artists like Kinoti, like nice, soft,
serenading.
You said it right, charisma. So those are some of the artists I have been listening to.
Do you listen to Kodonklan? Kodonklan.
I think I saw. Was that the diss track they put? That's a different one.
This track now is Buru Boys.
Yes.
Brooklyn Boys and Toxic.
Yeah.
But Kodonklan is biggest boy band right now.
Okay, I'll listen to the music. I don't, maybe I've heard it, but sijui kama ni wao.
You have.
Could be, right?
Yeah.
But I do listen to a bit. I think my genre is a bit more like love songs, maybe.
You're in that phase of life right now.
Not really.
I love that for you. I love that for you.
Not really. I think just because they are good, not because I'm in that phase of life.
So what is out there does not influence what your heart feels does not influence what you listen or interact with.
I've also been listening to a lot of
interesting human being.
I've also been listening to like a bit of what is it? Like it's kind of like, should I like say breakup-ish? But basically women, and they're basically putting it out there.
So there were statistics that were saying
I saw those statistics that you're about to say. Just say them.
There were statistics that were saying Spotify saying Kenya is ranked top. Most listened to heartbreak songs. Kenya are there number one. So you see, you're among those statistics.
I am among the statistics. But the thing is, the breakup songs hit hard. Like you feel the emotion.
Because you have been there. Like uliniwacha nikanyeshewa. Ulinyeshewa.
No, but like
nimekupigia mara 9. I have called you and you have not answered. So you've won those shoes.
Wow. No, I think they just hit.
For sure.
But yeah, I think I'm a musical omnivore. Like I listen to so many things. I'll be listening to J-pop when my Spotify rap comes out. Pop music.
It's that sophisticated for you. No, when people say pop, it's really sophisticated.
No, like J-pop, like Japanese pop.
Oh my God. You listen to those things?
They are good. I mean, have you listened to the music?
I'm disappointed.
No.
Can we end here?
Anyway, like a lot of things, Mexican music. Like I just like to appreciate.
So music is really about how it makes you feel as compared to...
Yeah, and like exploring different things, like trying to learn different sounds as well.
Yeah.
Not every time it's the same thing. Like you know,
yes, I'm going to have to put you on. So you with the diss track thing. So you have to start listening to
Definitely.
Brooklyn Boys.
Yeah.
They have
I
some
think I know Brooklyn
crazy.
Boys.
Yeah, Brooklyn Boys are really good. Do you know? Can you mention anything off your head
For what?
for Brooklyn Boys?
I don't think so.
The way hauna dream ya kutoka kwa block. So they actually have a track called Dream ya kutoka kwa block.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'll go listen.
Yeah, and but you know Toxic. Toxic has been big.
How does it go?
Toxic lyrically, the musician.
Some of his music.
Backbencher.
Yes, I know. You see, I know that. I just don't know the names, but I know the music. Yeah, but I have this.
You're not big on concerts. One good concert experience for me is if the music you listen to at a concert, you never forget that music.
That's
so if
true.
you hear an artist play at a concert, you never forget. It's usually off the top of your head.
Yeah. I get that. The thing about me is it's a very bad thing. I know the songs, but I don't really know the name of the song. Unfortunately, sometimes I don't know the artist, which is terrible. By the way, I accept that. I put myself accountable.
Intentionality.
I have been trying though.
Listen with intention. If an artist has an album that is out, check out the album cover.
Yeah.
Check out the way the tracks are arranged. Check out everything. Don't let things.
I
pass.
will.
So intentionality in your listening experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
Put some intentionality. And aside from music, what are you exploring? Aside from music.
What am I exploring?
Aside from
in
music
what way?
and crocheting.
In what way?
Anything that gets you pumped.
I think this year I've been intentional in my friendships. I will say that.
That's
like,
good.
Just my girls are my big support system. They, even though people leave, they will still be there.
People say tu ni nani.
No.
So,
no, we're not doing that here.
We're your best friend people.
We're not doing that.
It's so interesting that every lady has that one best friend that left. And they go through life.
Stop there. I will stop. Nitakusimamisha hapo. But I'll just say like they have been really, really supportive. I say they become like family. Me I don't have a sister, so like I get that sisterhood from them.
You have brothers only?
I have one brother.
Same for me. I don't have.
Really?
I grew up more with my sisters compared to my...
you're so lucky.
How?
Sisters.
Break it down for me.
They're sisters.
That's what used to piss me off.
There's emotional,
My
nourishment.
Sisters. I don't like you.
No, there's nourishment. You cannot be dissing them like that.
Nourishment.
No. Yes.
So, you see, growing up around my sisters, there was so much gaslighting going on there and rage baiting. Yeah, because tell me why I left 2 mandazis and there are no mandazis now.
You know what? Maybe a rat picked them. You know what? Maybe a stranger just...
No assumptions.
You know what? The
no
ancestors
maybes.
took them. We usually say give some to the ancestors. They took them.
It's my sisters. I know it's them. They ate my mandazis before I woke up because then I sleep late. So they ate all my mandazis.
I stand for the sisters.
They're
innocent until proven guilty.
Okay.
Was there evidence? No. No evidence, no crime.
Okay.
Let's continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're doing. and my sisters are not going to be safe from this point. I'm going to keep my mandazis far away from my sisters. Yeah, so what are you checking out?
What am I checking out in terms of
what interests you? What are your interests?
I read a lot. I don't think if you know that I read a lot. Oh my god, I am that person who just
fiction, non-fiction.
I read a lot of non-fiction. Sorry, no fiction.
Self-help?
I confused it. No, not self-help. No. You know what? Self-help is good. If you read self-help, good for you.
We don't have a problem.
We don't have a problem.
We're not doing that.
I just think I've read a few of self-help books. I feel like after a point, they all keep repeating the same rhetoric, Be disciplined. The little things matter. Invest.
Wake
be
up
a
at
good
5 a.m.
person. have a routine.
And then again, whatever worked for you might not work for me.
Exactly. Like, they be given common sense. You know, sometimes common sense is not common to other people. So if common sense is not common to you,
that's hard. That's hard on the non-common sense.
read the self-help books. They will help you. But yeah, I read a lot of fiction. I'm a fan of thrillers, murder mystery. Also,
Frida McFadden.
Yeah, I've read her books. I have. Yeah,
the Housemaid
have you read?
series. I've done the Housemaid series. I've done the Tenant. The Divorce something.
Yeah.
Her storytelling is so wholesome and it's so thrilling.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like at some point diving into the same thing so much brings monotony.
Yes, you need something, a palate cleanser. I read different.
So what's your palate cleanser?
My palate cleanser, actually.
Another genre or something else?
I will say that different authors. Different authors and like different type of thrillers. So like, for instance, I just finished reading this book called Too Old for This, right? And it was a good palate cleanser because it was a thriller, but then it was by an old woman. She's 75 and she's a retired serial killer. So she's not your typical
retired serial killer.
Yeah. So you see, like, it's not
that's
the
interesting.
same.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's someone writing from an actual point of view.
Yes, it was very comedic.
Like I've been there.
Things are happening, but like I side with this woman, I side with her. But yeah, she's very funny.
For sure. So I think people should read more fiction.
Yeah, I mean, it builds empathy. Like, for real, have you read 1,000 Splendid Suns by Khalid Hosseini?
I think it's in my TBR.
You should. That book.
I'm reading investigative more right now.
Okay.
There's this John Grisham.
Oh, yeah, he's a good
The
author.
Innocent Man.
Okay,
a lot of lawyer stuff. A lot of I'm reading a lot of that.
If you want lawyer stuff and crime, read Eddie Flynn novel, Eddie Flynn series by Steve Kavanagh. Top notch. Conman turned lawyer.
13. You've read 13.
I have.
Yeah,
I have The Accomplice, you know.
I've read all that. So it's been good having you. Really amazing having you.
It's been nice to be here, yeah.
It's a wonderful conversation. And if you're down, we can have you again.
Why not?
For sure.
Why not?
Yeah, so thanks so much for making time.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
As usual, I'd like to put you guys on. So if you have old family portraits in your house, come and get new family portraits at Mint Glint. My name is Jesse Jackson. This is Rory, and that has been our time.